How's it going, everyone? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, aka the Lonely Hermit, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we have our week 3 roundup for season 4 of the Elite Battle League. It was quite honestly the best week thus far this season, so if you haven't watched these matches, go to the coaches' channels down in the description, subscribe while you're there, and watch these matches because there was a lot of fire. Quite a few one-sided battles, I won't lie. We'll go over them in a second here. But yeah, check out all the coaches' channels and subscribe so you not miss any matches. You definitely want to catch the matches for this week. You can go ahead and catch up with all the other matches that have already gone down. You don't have to watch my week 1 match. You could skip that one, it's okay. And of course, subscribe to the Elite Battle League channel so you not miss weekly roundups, top 5 plays, top 5 fails, and the power rankings. They're all here, so subscribe. You don't miss any of those. Cool. All right, first up, we have the Iowa Incineroar versus the DC Starmies. This was an interesting one because it's hard to say that. So DC walked away with a 6-4 win. It's hard to say that Lennon played bad because I really don't think he played that bad. I definitely think there were a couple decisions from Timmy that could have changed the match a little. Could have just picked up the pace a little more with the match. I think ultimately the outcome was going to be the same. I think Timmy did incredibly well to play patient. He really bided his time. I think that was the key for Timmy in this match. He bided his time. He waited. He let certain Pokemon go down, and he was okay with it. He was just waiting for that opportunity to be able to strike. He was waiting to get Reshiram in a really good situation, which at the end it did. It was just a really well played match from Timmy. And even then with Landon Inferno Man, coach of the Iowa Incineroar, I really don't think he played that bad. I think maybe this comes down to the practice, the prep, I guess, that went into this match. I feel like that's maybe what really dictated how it turned out. Mamoswine living off of the Max Flare from Arcanine effectively wasted the Dynamax. And again, this is sort of a pacing thing and a way to try and keep momentum with the match. The Arcanine was very low in HP. He lived on, I believe, 6 from the Earthquake from Mamoswine, I think it was. Timmy decided to send in Rotom Mo and Protect to finish off, because that was the 3rd turn of Dynamax for the Arcanine. So he goes in, protects, stops the Dynamax. I personally think the better move would have been to go into Rillaboom and Grassy Glide and then go ahead and switch out from there. Again, it's a pacing thing. Ultimately, it was the same result, but I think he could have gotten rid of that Arcanine just a little bit faster if he had gotten that kill. Killing the Tapu Fini early for Timmy was a big, that was a big kill to start off with, but Landon did well to rebound from that and stay in the match for the most part. Landon just kind of played into Timmy's hands. So eventually, like, Timmy just started to work his magic and just started to kind of move the chess pieces in the right way. And like I said, he bided his time really well. He was very patient in this match, and that is a great thing to show for someone who's barely getting into competitive battling. That is an excellent trait, is just that sort of patience and knowledge of knowing when you're going to strike, waiting for the right opportunity, and capitalizing when you get that opportunity. Timmy just he did all of that. So that's definitely a really good sign for him. It was a very good win for him. Like I said, though, Inferno Man really didn't play bad. I think Timmy just outmaneuvered him, especially in the second half of the match. He just sort of started to position Landon in a spot where he'd be able to walk away with a win. So I think Timmy did really well. I think this was a pretty solid match, to be honest. He didn't quite, at least in my opinion, when I watched it, you couldn't quite tell who was gonna win until Timmy just finally started to put his foot on the gas. And that's when he was able to pull it off. So I thought this was a pretty good match, pretty solid match, a great win for Timmy. That you did really well, my dude. Like, that was awesome. So yeah, GG's to both of you guys. DC walks away with the 6-4 win in that one. Moving on, we have the Commissioner's Battle of the Week. The Commissioner's Battle of the Week. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a pretty exciting match to watch. The Detroit Luxrays versus the Tijuana Gengar. Detroit walked away with a 6-5 win. It was a pretty exciting win to watch. I'm not gonna say it was a bad match because I really don't think it was. The problem is with it getting picked out of the league. From what I heard, this is not straight from the commissioner himself. This was from another person. So if this, I don't know, if you said something else, Matt, this is just what I heard. To Matt Stonefam, Matty Ice, his main reasoning was that our match, the LA Inferno versus the Florida for Alligators, was, you know what? I'm gonna wait till I talk about my match because I feel like I can get in more detail. Hold pin in that. Okay, Detroit was getting manhandled. Let's be real here. This was a beatdown on one side that turned into a beatdown on the other side. Now there were some very crucial plays that definitely saved Max. Twice there were 2 misses that saved Max, but beyond that, I mean, so Max did what Max does. He sends out Gengar, starts nasty plotting, which it's not a terrible idea, but Gengar is not exactly the most it cannot take the most hits in the world. It does hit pretty hard, but the Aromatisse set up Trick Room right away, so it kind of neutralized the Gengar a bit, but then Thunder on the Gengar with the paralysis really hurt it. Like, it pretty much just shut down any chance of that Gengar doing anything. So that really hurt it, and that ultimately didn't really go anywhere, and that did hurt game reviews early in the match. That did not do, it just was not a good start for him. And then eventually the Buzzwole comes in, and much like in our match, he Dynamaxes, Max Airstreams, and then the Max Rock Falls. So that was incredible of him to get Buzzwole into the position again. The Ultra Beasts the Boost Legendaries are just dangerous in these sorts of situations. And Buzzwole was getting ready to sweep up Max, but this is the first play that saved Max. Arguably, Luigi maybe could have gone for the close combat. Hindsight, obviously, if he knew he was gonna miss the Rock Slide, if he knew how much it would turn the match around, go for the close combat. But ultimately, he goes for Rock Slide on the Rotom. He misses, the Rotom discharges and paralyzes the Buzzwole as well. It was just a terrible turn for Tijuana, and it just shut down Buzzwole right then and there. It was really unfortunate. The RNG did save Max in this one. I'm not gonna lie. He was getting it handed to him very early in the match, and Buzzwole was in line to rack up kill after kill after kill. But that Rock Slide miss plus the para just equaled failure. It just was not good for him. And then eventually, like, it didn't quite turn the match completely. It was still, it was still a battle. They were still duking it out. It still felt like Luigi had the edge, though. It did. But then Gyarados comes out for Detroit, and I mean, at this point, when Gyarados hits the field, Detroit was down 2-5. I'm telling you this, like, that's nuts. They only got 1 kill, whereas Tijuana had already taken down 4 Pokemon, so they were down at this point. It was a 2v5, and the Gyarados comes in, and it just Dynamaxes right away, starts to do some work. This was a great comeback win from Max. It really was. And well, the Gyarados comes out, then Cofagrigus comes out to match it because of Mummy, try to shut down the Moxie. And the Trick Room and all that, like, it's cool what the Cofagrigus did. I get where Luigi was coming from and why he didn't use Destiny Bond. I understand. That's why I can't criticize it too much. He was afraid of the D-Dance. He was afraid of the setup. He didn't want to give a free D-Dance away, which is fair. Hindsight is a pain, though, because he could have easily just Destiny Bonded and let that thing, let the Cofagrigus die, but you take down the Gyarados. He still has to deal with the Kyogre, but at that point, he would have 4 Pokemon to take care of it. He could go in with Incineroar, Parting Shot, go into, Glastrier, and just try to wreck that thing, or even go to, well, yeah, he could have just done that. He would have had 4 Pokemon to deal with the 1 Kyogre, so I still think that would have been the best play. So that was another play that definitely hurt, but another one that really hurt, and again, RNG, Glastrier missed an Icicle Crash on the Gyarados. That would have killed it, And again, Luigi would have just had to deal with the Kyogre. So a lot of RNG, a lot of luck did not go Luigi's way. That early part with the Gengar didn't really necessarily affect the match too much. I don't know how much that Gengar would have really helped, especially considering the Trick Room was still up and the light screen. So how much that would have made a difference, I don't know. But yeah, that was rough to watch. The RNG was definitely not on Tijuana's side, and ultimately Detroit was able to come up with a really good comeback win. The stars aligned for them. The stars aligned for them in this match. That's probably one of the better comebacks we've seen in the Elite Battle League. But yeah, it really was a beatdown on one side to a beatdown on the other side. It was very one-sided both ways. Like, it was very one-sided to Tijuana, then the Gyarados came out, and it was very one-sided to Detroit because the Gyarados racked up 4 kills. It did go down because the Buzzwole lived, and the Buzzwole Thunder punched the Gyarados. So Gyarados was very, very close to being the MVP, but the Buzzwole refused to die. So yeah, it was a really good win for Max. A really good comeback for Max, but the RNG definitely saved him because that was gonna be ugly. That Buzzwole was gonna clean up shop. So good comeback win. RNG definitely saved him in that one though. So 6-5 win for Detroit. Moving on, we have the Florida for Alligators versus the LA Inferno. The LA Inferno are heating up, ladies and gentlemen. Feels really good to get another win on the board, especially against the 2-time champ. It felt really, really, really good. This is where my thing with the Battle of the Week came in. So according to Matt, see the pin? We're taking it out. We're coming back to it. Matt, the commissioner, said he felt that this battle was in my favor for the most part, and I have to hard disagree. This was a boxing match through and through. It honestly came down to the last turn. If Magmortar, it literally came down to my Dynamax Magmortar. Does it live the wild charge or does it not? That's all it came down to. If it dies, Lionheart wins. If it takes the hit, which it did, I won, which walked away with a 6-4 win. So clearly that's what happened. It took 5 minutes for a kill to even happen, and honestly, it got more competitive when we traded hazards. That's when the match really started to kick off. That's when we started to really trade blows back and forth. But this match, it was a chess match, a boxing match, all the way to timer, and I killed all 6 of his Pokemon. I personally think this was a better match. It was just it's much more back and forth. It was much more methodical and much more tactical because, again, if it wasn't for the RNG, Tijuana was going in for that sweep. They were going to get the sweep. They were going to get the sweep. Buzzwole was going to get 5 kills. That was going to be that. But, it is what it is. But this was an intense match. I can speak from experience from being in the match. It was very intense, very back and forth. It's really hard to battle against someone like Lionheart. He's tactical. He's a very tactical battler. He's a very hard battler to try and predict and work around. So to be able to really push in and take this win away from him felt really good. The rocks trade, like I said, though, is when I was able to really start putting my foot on the gas a little bit more, and we really started to go crazy. But I think the biggest play was Volt switching first turn. Volt switching with the Thunderous first turn was massive because the Zacian just kept getting chiseled away on the damage, especially when the rocks came in. Its damage, its health just was gradually wearing out and wearing out and wearing out. So that's where I really did manage to control Zacian. I couldn't paralyze it because he had a really good plan for that, which was fair. But the other way I was able to neutralize it was just by chiseling away at its health, taking it all the way down until eventually it killed itself because of the wild charge recoil. So it was a really intense match. It was very tactical, very methodical, and we just went back and forth on that one. But I was able to walk away with a win. It's I think that was a really good showing for me personally. Taking down someone like Lionheart, it feels really good. Improved to 2-1. The Florida for Alligators are in kind of an unfamiliar position. Well, I guess Lionheart is in an unfamiliar position at 1-2. Record-wise, it's probably one of his worst starts, but he really hasn't played bad. Probably should have won week 1. Definitely should have won week 1, to be honest, if it wasn't for timer. So he's not in a bad spot. I'm sure he's just chilling right now. Even with the 1-2 record, he's still doing well. So yeah, LA walk away with a 6-4 win in my personal battle of the week. I don't care if I'm a part of it. I thought it was the best battle. But with that being said, we move on to the Texas Tyranitar versus the Kentucky Kinglers. Kentucky walked away with a pretty dominant 6-3 victory. It would have been a lot worse had the Crocodile not gotten burned as soon as it came in. So Kentucky finally used the Blaziken strat, the baton pass, used bulk up baton pass with the speed boost into Crocodile. Claydol, however, I believe had Scorching Sands burn the Crocodile. The Crocodile still managed to get a couple kills. It did take out Aggron and it did take out Sceptile. That Skitter Smack was a big call for Derek. Derek is just an amazing battler, guys. I feel like we established that now with the team he's using, with the record he has. The fact that he's won a majority of his regular season matches already is further proof that Derek is an amazing battler and deserves all the credit in the world. So he finally brings the Blaziken for that. Goes to the Crocodile. Crocodile does manage to get 2 kills before it does go down, but it was you know, despite getting burned, it still managed to do some work. Now Alan's problem, the doorman, the coach at Texas Tyranitar, his problem is his in-game decisions. He had another bad Sceptile switch. I really didn't think Sceptile was a good thing for Crocodile. Was it a terrible idea? Not necessarily. I just think it was this was a really good point brought up by Lionheart. It was too early. It was just too early of a switch. But the problem is the Crocodile was +1. He kept forgetting the Crocodile was +1 speed. So it outsped his Sceptile, it outsped his Aggron. And so like he kept forgetting that, and his calculations were probably right normally, but the Crocodile was +1. So that's where the problem came. The Aggron automized was not great. His calculations, he kept saying his calculations were off. He Thunder Waved on the Appleton substitute, which did not help him at all. That's one less move he was able to get off. The Rayquaza switch to Appleton onto Appleton was a little bit questionable, not gonna lie. I don't know. It was just a lot of decisions where maybe hindsight plays a lot into it, but it definitely could have done more work. The Aggron, I was not a fan of the Aggron set, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, the Aggron set was not fantastic, but it was a good way to start it. He you know, Scorching Sand for the burn. You know, he set up Reflect for the Crocodile as well, which were all smart things to do. He played that well to try and stop the sweep. But I think from that point on, the switches were interesting. I think Jirachi would have really benefited in this match. I'm not gonna lie. I know Blaziken and Crocodile are big threats on Derek's team, probably the biggest threats on Derek's team. But Jirachi still would have benefited in this match. Just being in there and adding that extra pressure. But ultimately, yeah, it was the decision making from Alan. He just made some wrong decisions. His calculations, he kept saying were wrong. So clearly there's some prep that needs to be fixed up and cleaned up. And yeah, but Derek played incredibly well. He did what he had to do. That Crocodile getting shut down early was big, but he managed to weather the storm and he managed to get through and walk away with that 6-3 win. So it's a great win from Derek. I think Alan needed a little bit more in-game practice. I think he could benefit from doing some battles for fun, just to help with the decision making. Because like I said, the prep also, you kept saying your calcs were wrong, so maybe the prep has a key thing too. So just some things to improve on, that's all. Moving on, we have the Essex Espeons versus the Indiana Igglybuffs. This is one of the matches we've been looking forward to because this was the finals of season 3. Not the most exciting final because both of them were playing chicken. Neither of them wanted to make a move. They were too scared. And so one second. Water. Neither wanted to make a move in that final. Neither wanted to act. So this match though was completely different. The Indiana Igglybuffs walked away with a 6-3 win over the Essex Espeons. Man, it was it was a rough one, Pitch. Mikiarna is definitely a freaking problem. Pitch decided to go more offensive again this week. He starts with Mew. He baton passed into Eternatus, but Quagsire had Unaware, so essentially it kind of didn't matter. And the Quagsire was at least able to get the Eternatus out. Was trying to scare it out. Bob definitely didn't make a huge mistake with his Scolipede. He thought it would be neutral with the Psychic to Espeon. But ultimately it did not make a difference at all. The beginning exchange definitely hurt Pidge more than it hurt Bob, because Pidge, both his legendaries, or well, Muse and Mythical, whatever, both of them, Mew and Eternatus, got low on health in that opening exchange, which did not benefit Pidge at all, and ultimately would have likely led to the same result if it wasn't for the Mew versus Dragonite showdown. So not a whole ton of a lot happened between the beginning and that. Like, there were a couple kills here and there. Like I said, the Scolipede went down, Magnezone went down, and the Giarna went down. But then Dragonite comes out to face Mew. Now the problem with Mew is it had Earth Power, Hurricane, Nasty Plot, and Baton Pass, which means the only move that Mew could hit Dragonite with was Hurricane. And the worst possible thing happened. Pidge missed 3 Hurricanes in a row. Bob took full advantage and Dragon Dance 3 times in a row. And Dragonite, your week 3 MVP, cleaned up shop. It took out 4 Pokemon, the Mew, Crobat, Double, and the Eternatus. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Again, I think this match might have still gone to Bob. He was working it really well, you know, tactically. It was going to be a lot tighter than this. It was going to be a lot closer. It was going to be a lot tighter. Like I said, though, Mew and Eternatus were both weak. So even if those misses didn't happen, Dragonite, even hindsight, let's say Pidge switches out of Mew, that Dragonite's still going to be +1 attack and speed. Would it still have gotten 4 kills? Maybe, but it definitely benefited from getting 3 Dragon Dances up. So very unfortunate for Pidge. Those 3 Hurricane misses in a row were rough. His reasoning for taking Hurricane over any other flying type move, or special flying type move at least, was because it was the only one that could one-shot Scolipede. It's cool and all, but honestly he should have just prepped around the other Pokemon as well, because Mew versus Scolipede didn't even happen at any point, I'm pretty sure. And plus he had Espeon for the Scolipede as well, so I didn't really see the point. I get it, you know, you want to make sure you can one-shot everything, but it ultimately just did not make a difference. Again, that might just be a hindsight thing, but you know, maybe Hurricane wasn't the best choice. So yeah, the Indiana Igglybuffs get revenge for their season 3 loss and bounce back from their defeat last week with a very solid 6-3 win. That Dragonite is a freaking menace, man. I kid you not. That thing is a menace. I had to face it, so I would know. So keep an eye out for that Dragonite. It is a menace. It is, I believe, second in the MVP season MVP race behind Buzzwole. So that thing is dangerous. So moving on to our final match of the week, we have the Atlantabreviary versus the Walterwingles. The Atlantabreviary walked away with a very close 6-5 victory, and good job, Nate. You have improved. I liked what I saw. However, there were still a couple decisions that were very questionable, to say the least. Atlanta was on the back foot, quite frankly. Honestly, Atlanta was on the back foot for a nice portion of the match. At one point, Lionheart and I watched the matches together, and at one point, I swear, I said, how does Matt win this? Like, Nate was in a really good spot, and I was just like, how does Matt win this? Matty Ice, coach of the Atlantabreviary, I was like, how does he win this? The drill run missing on the Metagross was big. Would it have killed the Metagross? Honestly, no, it wasn't going to, but that extra damage would have been really nice. I really don't think it would have killed, because I think at that point the Metagross was already +1 defense, and Metagross has good defense to begin with. So I think it would have taken that drill run regardless, but it missed, and the Pheromosa goes down. Yeah, the Metagross took down Crustle, which has Shell Smash, which was big. Nate played his Dynamax incredibly well to shut down the Crustle and make sure you can take it out. And then again, he kills the Pheromosa. But the freaking turning point for me is your Metagross is +2, my friend. Your Metagross is +2. Ride it out. Let that thing stay in and go to town with it. See what you can do as much damage as possible. But he switched. He switched out of the +2 Metagross, and even Matt was like, why did he switch? And he was just silent. He was stunned for like the next 30 seconds. He was just sat there stunned, and he kept asking himself, like, why did he switch? Why did he switch? There was no reason to switch there, Nate. That play definitely killed all momentum that the Walterwingles had, and that allowed the Atlantabreviary to start getting back into the match. Now, I won't lie, Matt did kind of shoot himself in the foot a couple times, but that was a huge turning point. If your Pokemon is set up just ride it out, let it go. It's okay. There's not many scenarios where you switch out of that, and it's a +2 Metagross. It's gonna be eating a lot of hits, so I really think that was the turning point for the match, because again, Walton lost all momentum, and Atlanta were able to pull themselves back in. It's really simple as that. That Metagross play was huge. Not to mention, though, everyone does set up on 8 now. It's kind of mean. Matt, come on. Matt also had another situation that was similar to Luigi last week. If he had Shell Smash one more time with Crystal, probably would have been a sweep. He probably would have done a lot more damage with that Crystal. He played it pretty safe. He played it pretty safe with the Volcarona. Same thing with the setups. Ultimately, it came down to Genesect. Genesect got 3 kills. It was a 1v3. Genesect came in. It got an attack boost download, which was big. That was huge. And it took out the Ninetales, which had killed, who did Ninetales kill? Ninetales had killed the Volcarona and the Vikavolt, and set up Walton for a victory there. But then Genesect came in, got the attack boost, killed Ninetales, killed Metagross, and killed Aurorus. Again, that Metagross switch, I think, was the turning point on this match. It allowed Matt to really get back in and to just fight his way back in. Because all momentum was with Nate. All momentum was with Nate. But he switches out. I just don't understand, because he threw right there. Like, that costed him the match. Not saying the Metagross would have swept or anything, but I think the Metagross would have done a lot of work at +2 defense. And they'd allowed Matt back in the match. Again, I found myself asking at one point, how did Matt win this match? Because I knew the results before I watched them, but I was just like, how does Matt win this match? That's how. That play was a big deciding factor. There were a couple other ones too. Again, Matt kind of shot himself in the foot a couple times. You know, again, it probably could have set it up a little bit more and all that stuff. But yeah, that Metagross switch was killer. So yeah, but Matt was still able to walk away with a very, very close win over an improved Nate. I like what I saw. Like I said, I liked what I saw with Nate. Good job, dude. I can clearly see the training is working. Just work on those in-game decisions a little bit more. So that's it for our week 3. I'm always 1 week behind for some reason. That's it for our week 3 matchups. Moving on to my week 4 predictions. We're starting to get down to the wire. The playoffs are looming large. So these are some big matches. The Atlantabreviary, first up. The Atlantabreviary take on the Essex Espeons. They did face each other last season, and Essex walked away with a win over Atlanta. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Now, this is an interesting one, because Matt has been guilty the last couple weeks of playing it a little too safe, being a little too cautious, whereas Pidge, as of late, has flipped the script. He's no longer playing as defensive as he used to. Who knows, that might change against Matt, because Matt likes shell smashing and all that good stuff. So that might change. I'm going to back Essex, though, in this one. I think Essex has a more balanced team that is capable of taking care of the setups, taking care of the bugs. I think Pidge is starting to warm up. The loss to Bob was a tough pill to swallow, but I still think Essex they're legit. Do I think this is going to be a blowout? I certainly hope not. If it is, I could see this being, I don't know. It's a tough one, because again, Atlanta like to set up. So this could be a really, really big win for one side. I'm sure Pidge is going to have something. That Mew is probably going to be really annoying for the side of Atlanta. But I'm going to go ahead and back Essex on this one. I think Essex will take the cake. I think they have a better balanced team than Atlanta. And I think Pidge will know what it takes. As long as he doesn't put Hurricane on his Mew again, he should be able to walk away in this one. So I'm going to take Essex in that matchup. Moving on, we have the Tijuana Gengars versus the DC Starmies. This is a tough one, because honestly, without RNG, Luigi was going to walk away with another really big win. Timmy has shown good traits, good battling traits. Like I said, his patience, his ability to snap on opportunities. The question is, will he be able to handle what the power that Tijuana has? Because that Trick Room is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous, actually. So if that trick room comes, how is DC gonna deal with it? It's a tough one. I'm gonna actually back DC on this one. I'm gonna be honest. I have faith in the newcomer. I think Timmy is doing really well as of late, and he definitely is showing improvement as the games go on. Like I said, he's showing some amazing battling traits for being so early in his career. He looks really good. With that being said, if you told me come Saturday that Tijuana won, I would not be surprised at all. So this is a really tight matchup, but I'm going to take DC for this one. Next up, we have the Texas Tyrannotars versus the LA Inferno. I'm going to take the LA Inferno on this one. The Texas Tyrannotars haven't exactly shown a ton to really make me really want to pick them over a balanced team like LA has. It's a tough one. I think Allen, it just depends on the prep. It depends on the prep and his in-game decisions. That's where he's losing it. That's where it's costing him is those mistakes in game. They're costing him big time. So I think LA takes advantage, and will, considering they're coming off of two very tactical matches, clearly they have a little bit of a knack for it. So I'm gonna take LA on that one. Moving on, we have the Walton-Wingles versus the Indiana Igglybuffs. I love the improvements, Nate. I gotta back the Indiana Igglybuffs though. Yeltnim is a fantastic battler, one of the best in the league. He's an amazing tactician. I think he's gonna have what it takes to outmaneuver Nate. With that being said, this new look Nate might have some tricks up his sleeve now, so we'll see. I hate to say it, but if you had told me at the end of week 2 that this match was happening, I probably would easily pick Indiana, no questions, with a pretty big win. But I like the improvements, Nate. So I'm expecting more of I'm expecting you to put out more of a fight against Indiana. But Bob is a fantastic tactician, so I think that he's able to walk away with a win in that one. Moving on, we have the Iowa Incineroar versus the Florida for Alligators. This is a tough one because if either team loses, it puts them in a really dangerous position for playoffs. It's a tough one. It puts them in a really dangerous position for playoffs if either one loses. In my opinion, between the two of them, Florida has had a better season despite the record. They both have the same record, but I think Florida has the better season. Like I said, I don't think they played particularly bad. I think, again, they probably should have won week 1. They won week 2, obviously, very decisively, and were very much in it until the end in the match against LA. So I think Florida had played better, and they just look better. Of course, you can never count out Lionheart. I'm taking Florida in this one. However, with that being said, Landon's one performance that was not so great was his week 2. He really struggled. He made a few mistakes. He cannot be that Inferno Man against Lionheart. He'll eat Landon alive if he's that Inferno Man. What the Inferno Man we need is the week 1 and week 3 Inferno Man. Like I said, I don't think he played particularly bad in week 3. With that being said, I think he can play well, and if he really puts his mind to it, he can win this match. It's possible, but Florida just looked the better team between the two right now. So I'm going to back Florida in that one. Next up, we have the Detroit Electros versus the Kentucky Kinglers. I think this might be the week that Kentucky run out of steam. Detroit, I mean, we've been saying it over and over and over, so who knows? Who the hell knows? Excuse my language. But Detroit's rain team is nuts. It's really good. I think this is the week that Detroit really brings out the rain just to spite Derek for using the rain last season. I'm sure Derek really wants to win this match, but Detroit just have the better team. Simple with the rain is just better. They're just like the teams all around are just better. There's more balance across the board. Not to say Derek hasn't beat good solid teams already like Timmy, but I think the luck finally runs out here, and Kentucky finally take their first L of the season. I'm taking Detroit in that one. So those are my predictions. Essex, DC, LA, Indiana, Florida, and Detroit. If I did not pick you, prove me wrong. All right, in your matches, step up, get that win, prove me wrong, make me eat my words. I say that every week to give you guys a little bit of extra motivation. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the week 3 roundup for the Elite Battle League. Again, this was probably the best. This was the best week by far. And it's only going to get better because now, like I said, we're getting down to the wire. This is when teams really need to start stepping up. So this is when you're going to see a lot of really solid performances out of teams. And this is also when you're going to see other teams start to crumble. So keep an eye out for the rest of the season. We are, again, getting down to the wire, so you do not want to miss any matches. And to do so, check out the coaches down below. Go subscribe. Go watch all the matches. Subscribe so you do not miss any of the matches and all that good stuff. Check out the EBL Twitter. Of course, subscribe to the Elite Battle League channel right here down below if it's not already gray, blue, whatever it is when you're already subscribed. If it's red, click it. Subscribe. So you not miss weekly roundups, power rankings, top 5 plays, top 5 fails. Check all that good stuff out. I think that's it. And of course, be sure to share social media, friends, family, everyone you love to be able to know the Elite Battle League is where it's at. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.